All right, well, let's get started. So, welcome along to the Learn How Flint AI can help with your content creation. We created this webinar, or we wanted to host this webinar because I guess there's a lot to the AI functions within Rocketspark and how Flint works that may not be fully understood, or people may not be getting the most out of it. So we thought we could do this and show you through. So if you haven't met me before, haven't joined one of the webinars, my name's Carlos. I'm the head of customer success here at Rocketspark. And yeah, Rocketspark is here to provide the world's most delightful website experience for small businesses and their designers. So creating these webinars and doing our education is definitely part of that. So let's get started. So an overview for today, yeah, it's all about how AI has been incorporated into Rocketspark. We call that Flint, Flint Writer. So we'll be talking about that a little bit. So we'll start with setting up your business tone of voice, as well as editing the tone of voice, because that can, yeah, that can help to create new content. So you might find that what's been generated isn't quite right, so you need to know how to edit that. Adding new text content and how to prompt existing content to be changed. We're going to look at new full page content creation. So some of you may know that when you create a new website from the beginning, from a template, the whole page of your homepage will be generated with content. We can now actually generate the whole page for new pages. So that will be good to show you through. And then if we get some time, we've gone through it a few times, but Flint AI for SEO. So just making sure we're getting the most out of that for each page. As I said, we've got the chat going. So if you'd like to ask anything or just chat, you can put it in there. But there's also the Q&A section. So if you can ask questions in there, I'll keep an eye on it throughout the webinar, but also other people might be able to sort of thumb up it, so that I can see what's sort of interesting to people. I'll try and do it as we go. I think the important thing for these sort of product-based webinars is that we're getting input, and that's why we're doing it live, is to get that input and to help people understand what's happening. And if you've got a question, somebody else will probably have the same question or have thought of it. So please just jump in, ask those. I'll try and respond to them as we're going. Otherwise, I'll pick up at the end and we'll do a bit of a session to tidy up any last ones that are remaining. Cool. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to start a new trial and show you how Flint gets set up and how your tone of voice gets set up. You may have seen it before, but I'm going to talk a little bit about what's happening along that journey, and then we'll talk about updating that. So I'm just going to create a new website from my dashboard. The business that I've thought I would start with is Garden Gurus, is what I'm going to call it. Cool. So what we're going to do is look for a Flint sort of optimized template. The main thing with these templates is they've just been fleshed out a little bit more. There's more content there to be created by Flint, whereas the ones without that lightning bolt are just a little bit shorter with the content they provide. So let's have a look. I think we'll go for should have thought of this beforehand, but let's start with the little pals design. We're not going to work so much on design anyway. It's going to all be about the AI, so it doesn't really matter. Right, so while it's loading the template, we're about to get the tone of voice survey, which is what you can see now. So when you go through this, we've got, which is pretty simple, our business name. What's important about this is that everything we input here is going to be used in the tone of voice. So having our business name there, the tone of voice will incorporate that. And then Flint will actually try and incorporate that into your pages. So we've told it that SEO is important. And so it knows using your business name within your site can be important as well. The type of business is going to also be pretty important. It's going to then be able to reference other similar types of businesses. So this is a landscape designers, like that. You can put anything generic in there. It's free format, so that's easy. Where your business is based, now this can be quite important too, because whilst I might say we're based in Cambridge, we may service a wider area than Cambridge, but you can kind of tweak that. So you might say, well, I'm going to start with Cambridge, but then you might change it to actually be Waikato, or you might even list Cambridge and Hamilton or something along those lines. And obviously New Zealand. Cool. And what if you don't use a template and start from scratch? So the only people that can start from scratch for a new design are our design partners and our designers. And so what I'll do shortly is I'll show you how you can take an existing site, which will be a start from scratch site, and where you can find this survey and start building out the tone of voice. All right. When did you start, and how many in your team? So this can be quite important because it sometimes will reference this if it's appropriate. And with team size, there's certain nuances, like if you put in one, it will start talking like I or I'm, or when it's prompting text. Otherwise, if it's got more than one, then it will be like us or we instead of I. So I'm going to say we've got a team of 10. And then, so now we're into the sort of good stuff. So what's the vibe of your business? So effectively what we're doing here is creating our tone. You get to select 5 of these words, or up to 5 of these words. You don't have to put them all in. And that's going to help form the basis of the tone of voice. But when we get into this, tell us a bit more, that's going to be where we get the real goodness. So let's have a look at that. So let's say I'd like to be a bit playful, landscaping company. I think that being collaborative is important. I think that should shine through. Maybe relaxed. Again, we're going to do this just so that we can see some different results. And we will actually change this a bit later on so that we can see if we can get some different results and how that might change things as well. I'm going to say innovative as well. What I've done, just to save a bit of time, is I've just created a prompt that I'm going to copy and paste in here. But this tell us more so we can fine tune your website really is about getting to understand how you talk to your customers. And this is going to be embedded in your site so that you never really have to do it again. And then everything, all that tone is going to flow through. So what I've got written here, which hopefully is not too hard to see, is from the first dig to the final flourish, we bring outdoor spaces to life with Kiwi know-how and love for the land. This Kiwi know-how, I think, will start showing through quite evidently in the text that's generated. Our team's been turning backyards, gardens, and large landscapes into beautiful outdoor spaces that suit your lifestyle. We keep it real. Again, this is another sort of phrase that the AI will sort of pick up on, with clear communication and fair pricing, because we're all about building outdoor areas you can enjoy, so on and so forth. So that's just a bit of an example, but even though that's been written, I actually use AI to write that, you don't have to be as fluid as that. In this first instance, we actually use AI to take what you've written, all of the details that you've put into the survey, and actually generate a tone of voice for you, which you'll be able to see shortly, how that changes it. So you can put in here and things like how you might have a conversation. So you could say, we are relaxed and it feels like you're having a conversation with a friend at a barbecue. So I kind of get people to think about, what is a conversation like with you or somebody from your business? What does it feel like? What does it invoke? It could be like, oh, it's like bumping into your best friend on the street, or it could be even as simple as, we care about the people we work for, or anything like that. So don't be afraid to sort of put a little bit more, as long as it feels like it's true to what you are, and then the rest will sort of be taken over. When we create the tone of voice, we wrap it up with a bunch of other prompting that's been sort of specialized from Rocketspark and our team from our experience. So things like the reading age for websites. So you obviously don't want to write as if it's a textbook. So websites needs to have a balance of marketing and the way that things are worded, so it's not too complicated, that it's not too long-winded. So we actually have like a reading age in there that will adjust the prompts, the generated text for as well. So all of that will be taken care of. It's kind of this freedom here to say what you're about, and who you are. For instance, if we thought of the challenges somebody might face when doing landscaping, not sure if they're going to get the right result or the design, or they're completely unfamiliar with the whole process, you could say like, we make it easy to understand. So things like that can all help. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go next and allow the Flint AI to generate that. Hopefully I haven't taken sort of too long or prompted too many different things there. But what it's doing at the moment, because we started from a template, is it's actually building out the homepage content. So it's creating the tone of voice using AI, and then it's saying, great, this template has this content in it. What do we need to update that with to be specific to this company and this tone of voice? And each stack has like a reference point to it and it explains what it's about. So hopefully in only a few more seconds, we'll see that starting to transform. So I'm not sure if any of you have seen this before, but you can fast forward it if you'd like, but it's kind of nice to be able to get a glimpse of what's happening as it's being done. Yeah, so those are really nice, but we'll review this content as well. One thing I didn't mention when I was doing the tone of voice is it's important that it's not like details about your business. So it doesn't necessarily need to include like qualifications or awards you might have won, or that, Lee is our receptionist and she's been with us for 20 years or something like that. It should really be about the tone. All of those details come into play when you're prompting or when it's creating content on a page. So all of the content that's been created here is all about the homepage. We're going to get into the content shortly, where we're going to be able to edit it and prompt and so on. But as per Anna's question, I just wanted to show you where you can edit it and then how we can create it a tone of voice for a site that might already exist, or if you've started from scratch. So in the top right corner, we've got the lightning bolt, which is the Flint lightning bolt. And what we can see here is that we've got the cog on the right. So we can click on that cog, and what we'll see is our tone of voice. And what we can see here is that all of the details we've put in, but then we've got the tone of voice that's created for us. So it's used what I've put in, and it's tweaked and adjusted that to make it more cohesive or comprehensive, sorry. So you can look at our guide and see that, but you can also edit this and refine it yourself. It won't let AI have another go at it, but it will let you just add whatever you want. So you might say, we always use this term. So you might want to add that phrase into your tone of voice so that that gets peppered throughout your site. Or you might say, oh, the tone of voice is lacking maybe some empathy or whatever it might be. So you can now add that in here just to adjust that and get it to get a little bit better for you. So that's how you would add it. The other thing you can do is, if I had the site here, oh, there we go. So if you've started a trial, and you've got nothing, no tone of voice created already. So this could be for an existing site that's years old or something new. If you click on the lightning bolt, you'll see this is slightly different, and you can use the get started. And effectively what that will do is it will start that template for you. The other thing, if you've got a site that's already going and you forget that, if you try and use Flint or the auto write function, it's automatically going to make you do that tone of voice setup if you haven't already got it. So for instance, if we were to try and add a text block, you can see here we've got the Flint icon again. If I turn that on, because we don't have the tone of voice set up, it's going to prompt us to complete that tone of voice. So let's just jump back into a site which now I've lost, sorry. Hold on a moment. Here we go. All right, so now we've got that. Just to recap, obviously creating your tone of voice at the beginning. You can come into the lightning bolt and the cog to edit it. If you've got an existing site, click on the lightning bolt and you can create it again. Those key points that I was saying, it doesn't need to necessarily have specifics in that tone of voice, and try and talk about, I guess, like how your customers will feel when they talk to you, how customers or visitors to your site are spoken to, what a conversation might be like between you and your customers. Cool. Let me just make sure I've covered that. Edit tone of voice, tone generation. Cool. All right. So moving on, what we're going to do is now look at the content and how we edit that. So this one started with transforming outdoor spaces in Cambridge. So we've got a couple of options. The first option is, so when you open this, if you haven't seen it before, you've got your Flint on or off here. So if you don't want to see it and you just want to sort of free type, you can turn it off, toggle it off. But you can see that we've got a bunch of options at the bottom here. And the first one is auto. So we're going to have a look at auto a few times. When we click auto, it takes whatever's in this heading and it'll use it as context, and then it will auto write a new heading based on that tone of voice. So revamping Cambridge's outdoor areas. So it's putting in where we're located because it knows that's probably good for SEO. And we can continue auto writing to recreate it, and then we can go back and forward and so on. And we can cancel if we want to discard and just go back to where we were. So auto is a great feature if you're just wanting to try a couple of different options. You can also make it easier to read, make it shorter and make it longer, which is pretty self-explanatory. Make it easier to read, quite popular because sometimes it will overcomplicate things. And certainly for websites, simplifying it for people is important. I'm just going to have a look at another piece of content. So this is a paragraph. So we can now see a full paragraph of text. This says, welcome to Garden Guru, where we're all about breathing life into your outdoor spaces, turning your backyard garden and landscape into beautiful oasis. So quite good, like standard for a homepage, and it's definitely sort of used our tone of voice generally. We might say we would like to auto write that again and just get a different version to see what it's about. New Zealand-based landscaping design company. So that's all nice. It's now put in Cambridge as well. So that's great. Some of the powerful use of this now is to say, well, actually, I don't want to auto write the whole thing. So you can actually say, I'm not a bigger fan of this phrase, or I'd like to sort of rewrite this phrase. And it might be like, welcome to Garden Guru. And we can say, well, let's just auto write that again. And so it's just saying, well, actually, we're just going to say Garden Guru, where all these things happen. And then now it's going to probably do the same thing because it's only got that text. We could then try and say, where all of you're breathing life into your outdoor spaces, and we could have a go at that. Put in life into all your outdoor spaces. So we can actually prompt the whole thing, but we can also prompt certain words as well. And that can actually end up being used as a bit like a thesaurus in some ways. Sometimes it's not, but so backyard got changed into garden. So if you're just looking for a different word or a different phrase, then you can actually use it in that way. What we can also do here is rewrite or prompt whatever we've highlighted or the whole area. So for instance, in this case, I might say, oh, it's lacking a bit of life. So I might say, rewrite this to be a bit more lively. I'm just trying that. So that's it, rewrite this to be a bit more lively, make it a bit more funny, and go. So get the garden you've always dreamed of without having to use sparkling water. It's interesting. Leafy Green Gurus will listen to your every need and build it into your plan. So you can see that we can actually use this as if we were using a generative AI tool like a ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or something like that. And we can just continue to do that. We might say, yeah, whatever you're after, rewrite this to I'm not too sure exactly how this will come out, but I'm just as an example, now it's saying discover your dream outdoor space with Garden Guru. So we really can prompt it and adjust that. Cool. Let's have another look at a couple of other things. So we've done headings and paragraphs there. We've now got these columns, and I'm just seeing if we've got a few more columns in here. No. Okay, so what we're going to do is start generating some new text. So I'm going to add a new stack here, and I'm going to have 3 columns for this. And what I want this to be is kind of like the services that our landscape business provides. So I'm going to add a heading here, and I'm going to say, that we provide garden design. And I'm going to save that. And then I'm going to have another heading here, and I'm going to put this in here. So I'm going to say lawn care. And what the example I'm trying to show here is that Flint doesn't just work on the text block that you're prompting it on. What it does is it says what is also within this stack, what is before this stack, and what is after this stack. And it's taking all of that as a reference of what am I trying to achieve at this point on the page or on this page of the website. So if I add a block, this will be interesting because it's live, as this always is, and I say auto write. Cool. So what it's done is it kind of understands we're doing services. So we've got garden design, lawn care, and so it's done outdoor lighting would be a potential other service that is provided. So that's actually not too bad. I think that's quite good, and we can save that. What we can now also do is we can go into our paragraph, and now that we've got a heading that's been saved, if we go auto write, all going well, what should happen is it should reference that, and it should say, great, garden design. We understand the role of captivating gardens plays in your home. The Garden Guru team designs and builds gardens. So it's really talking about that. The only thing is that this is quite long. So I'm going to see what make it shorter does and see if we can get that condensed a little bit. Cool. And that's definitely shortened it up. I'm not too sure what the content is now, but I'm going to try that again. Great. And we're getting it a little bit shorter each time. We could try and prompt this to say this to be shorter, roughly. Now, some of those promptings when you're trying to get things longer and shorter can be a little tricky. You need to try and be quite specific. But now that we've got that, we can just see what these other examples are like. So we're going to lawn care, into the paragraph, and we're going to auto write. Cool. And now it's saying, great, we offer a comprehensive range of lawn care services. So it's matched that heading. It sort of knows what we're doing. I'd like to make this a bit shorter to try and get it maybe in a similar line to this, but I may have to prompt that as well. And then let's just try outdoor lighting. Cool. When it comes to garden design, lighting should never be an afterthought. So as you can see, we haven't had to prompt it at all, really. It's using our tone of voice and it's getting that message across, but it also understands what's on the page. It understands the context of this page and the content within that page, and it's now delivering text content that matches that. So really quite powerful, especially with like these 3 columns and options that we're delivering there. I see there's no other questions or anything. How's everyone finding that? Is that going well? I'll let you respond anyway. Cool. So now that we've done that, we may come back to a few bits. I'm just going to check my setting here. So we're auto write, prompting updates. Yeah, single words, just to recap, being able to edit just single words or parts of a paragraph. Oh, quite important here that when you're prompting, to note that you try not to compete with the tone of voice too much. What we've found is some of our designers, especially in partners that are used to probably using generative AI, will start prompting here and put in what they would normally do. But actually, you don't necessarily need to tell it how to talk. We've already got the tone of voice embedded into every prompt that's happening. So when you're creating like some new text content, you might say, let's remove that heading, and we might say, okay, we want to write something here, but we say, write a paragraph about why you would even want to get a professional involved. So here you could, if you're doing generative text, you may say, oh, I'm going to prompt it to to talk in this way or adjust how it speaks, because we're kind of used to that, people that have used AI a lot, that we have to kind of go backwards and forwards a lot. But in this case, now that we've got that tone of voice, it's reading what's on the page, it understands what's going on. We actually shouldn't necessarily need to adjust that too much. And saying that, you can say, I'd really like the person to feel like they're supported or safe. I did a test site for a dentist, and it was a lot of, there's a lot of fear with people. Make sure that's, supportive in the way that it speaks. Ah, nice. Sarah, that is exactly where I'm going to next. So let me know if I cover that as well. Um, so yeah, so that's being able to prompt, and just remember, you don't need to compete with that tone of voice. And we've already talked about how Flint will read the page and the other content on the page. All right, so let's go and have a look at full page generation. So if we go over to our manage pages area and we say, let's add a page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to think about probably one of the things I harp on a little bit with our customers is create landing pages, create more content. It's going to help with your SEO. So in this case, I want to do some more landing pages for the services this company, landscaping company, provides. So the first one, as we saw before, will be garden designs, for instance, and we can add that page. Now that we've added that page, I can go to the page, and what you'll see is we've now got an auto write button. And so what I can do is I can say auto write, and now it's giving me the ability to prompt what this page is about. Now, remembering we don't necessarily need to do tone too much, otherwise we'll compete with our tone of voice, but you can add some elements to it. I haven't prepared a prompt for this, so I'm just going to write one. Sorry if I'm a bit slow, but let's just get this going. So this page is about the garden design services garden gurus provide. This page should outline, the benefits of getting a because what I'm trying to think of here is, what is the content I'd normally put on this page? So I'm saying this page should outline the benefits of getting a garden design. It should outline the process, maybe, help customers to understand maybe the difference of garden design and the time and money it will actually save. So as I said, I haven't actually prompted this before, but I'm going to go with that. I think that covers a lot of it. So when you do that, Sarah, when you create this, what it's doing is just like the homepage. It's when we first use it from a template, it's saying, okay, I'm going to now look at the tone of voice. So we know that this is a garden landscaping business. We know this is the tone of voice. We know there's 10 people and it was started in 2010. We know that this page is called garden designs. And so we know the context of the page. We also know that what I want to include on the page was about this service and so on. So cool. We'll review this in a moment, but just as it's going through, we can read it. Nice. So a key thing to note, which again is not sort of easy to sort of promote and publicize, is that the layout that's being used here isn't the same layout for every time you generate a new page. What we've done is we've had Flint analyze a whole bunch of our designer websites that have been built and all of the ones that have had awards. And then what we've said is that, analyze what these pages are, what the context of those are. And then what it's doing is it's saying, well, this is a page about a service. So what we're going to try and do is use a layout that other designers that we know have had good websites have used. And we're going to try and build the best layout for this page based on what it's on. So let's have a look at what it kind of created. Enhance your yard with the Garden Guru design. A thoughtfully designed garden is a beautiful and functional space, and so on and so forth. We've obviously got some lorem ipsum there, so we've missed a little bit, which I'll share with the team. Why choose a professional garden design? Hiring a professional garden designer may seem like an unnecessary expense, but it can actually save you time and money. I might say that actually I don't like this unnecessary expense. So let's just try and prompt it without actually trying to be too clever. I don't like reference to Siri expense. Can you change this? Sorry. Let's just see how that goes. I think it's going to probably recreate a bit of the page as well. So hiring a professional guidance designer may not seem like a priority. So that might be better. I might just be wanting to avoid that price. Yeah. Brie, I'm not sure what you mean by isn't that repetitive of what we saw previously. Was some of the text the same at the top? Are we saying that this enhance your yard with the garden guru design? Oh, okay. I can go back and have a look at that. Generally speaking, you can see some similarities because we've got this embedded tone of voice. And if the context is the same, so this is a new page with an H1 heading and sort of our first paragraph, it should be more about the design. But the other thing is that the homepage may have picked up that design is an important part of our tone of voice or of a landscaping business. So when we maybe try the next one, which is lawn care, let's see if that does the same as well. So keep an eye out for that if we can. I talked about time and challenges and saving money and so on. So we've got those prompts there as well. Add value to your property. So that's quite new. These are the benefits: enhanced lifestyle, peace of mind, and our garden design process. So there's some stuff there as well. So let's do another one just as an example. I think that's will also help to see if we're getting some similar content or not. So we'll go to manage pages. We'll add another page, and we'll do this one for lawn care. We'll just do lawn care. I was going to do lawn care and maintenance, but let's just keep it simple. Right. Line 2. Can you guys actually read this text, or is it helpful if I do read it as well? Should outline the services we provide to customers to get the best lawn. It should like the benefits of a healthy. So I'll just leave it at that for the moment, and let's see what we get here. So again, hopefully what we see is some new content or some slightly different content. Again, it's still got the tone of voice and it still knows about the business. So we probably will see some similarities, which isn't necessarily a bad thing from a brand perspective. But obviously we want unique content for Google. No, so Anna, that's a good question. Will it look at the homepage stacks to determine the design, format, and layout to keep the look and feel consistent through the pages? Not really. It's at the moment what it's doing is it's just layout. So it's just columns and layout of that text and obviously placeholders for images. So if you've got your styling all set up, so your site-wide colors and styling, obviously that will all pull through, but it won't actually look at that. It is a really good question, and I think Jeremy, our head of product, will be quite interested for that as a concept. And the more we use AI, the more we find how powerful it is. And actually, we could say you should look at the homepage of a site when building out these pages and consider that format. So yeah, it's a good prompt. But at the moment, no, that this is looking at the industry that the site's for, what the page is about, what the page name is, and the tone of voice to then say what is a layout that has been used by other designers and other sites. And maybe that's good, from a design perspective. It allows you to then say, well, actually, this could be a good starting point. I know a lot of designers will use tools like Figma or Adobe tools to be able to design their site, which probably won't change. You'll probably still do that. But actually, knowing that this is here and then you can get a sort of head start, this may actually change things a little bit. You might look at what's created by Flint in this layout and say, oh, okay, actually, I kind of like that. I never thought of using the columns in that way, or maybe doing it in that order. But actually, I might incorporate that. What you might find your end designers that you're going to have to change or move some things around, but obviously you have the flexibility for that. Cool. So I'm just going to answer these questions so I can see the other ones coming up. All right, so let's have a look. Bree, it'd be interesting to see if you think that there's some similarities here. So lawn care, that's a cut above. Your lawn should be lush, verdant. That's interesting. I've not heard that one. Carpet that complements your home and makes your neighbors green with envy. I quite like that, green with envy. Should be soft underfoot, durable enough to play on and attract some. So why garden guru, which is good, benefits beyond the blades. Obviously, that's kind of maybe going to another page, which is maybe not 100%, but it could actually prompt you to create another page. A healthy lawn equals a healthy environment. Lawn care for every season, spring, summer, autumn, winter. So that's kind of cool. Like, interesting that it's put in spring, the time to revitalize. I'm not sure if that's put that in because we're in spring. It would be quite cool if that's how it was thinking. And then put the other seasons, or if spring is the most important season for a lawn. But I'd like to think that's what it's sort of doing. Why choose Garden Guru for your lawn care? Get a free quote today. Great to see a call to action coming through there. And then testimonials, which is kind of cool as well. I get a little bit, we've actually purposely not had Flint update testimonials on the homepage generation, only because it felt too good and that we were a bit worried that people might just leave them there. So kind of interesting that we got some testimonials on this one as well. All right, so I see that. Thanks, Yolanda. Does anyone want to see any more pages generated or anything we've been through? What I'll do is I'll continue on to now just updating the tone of voice and seeing what kind of prompts we get, just so you can see that and how it might change things. But I'll look for your comments and notes there, and then we can have a look at the SEO side of things as well. Just to recap, I'm just looking through my notes here. Yeah, definitely think of this full page generation for landing pages. I quite often think that the locations that are business services should be separate landing pages. They don't necessarily have to link from the homepage, but having them is good. Obviously, all the services you provide or the products you provide, and this can definitely make it very quick. As I said, I did one for a dentist as a trial and all of the services they provided, and it was just so quick to be able to generate all this content. Yes, you want to go and review that and make sure you're happy with it, but it definitely sped things up. Yeah, when you're prompting the page at the beginning, just remember that we're not necessarily competing with the tone of voice. We can put in details there. And yeah, we've talked about the layout, so that's good. So let's have a look at our tone of voice. And let's maybe change this a little bit. We talk to our customers like mates, and I'm purposely going to try and push it to be sort of Kiwi, and so we can get quite a different response so that we can see it like mates. They are friends, and it's like we our customers to have a laugh and enjoy the process. I'm going to do this because I know it will prompt some funny things, but we're Kiwi. Sorry if I spell it wrong. Through and through, and I don't know. Cheers to that. I'm putting in words to try and get them to come through. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove some of the beginning of it just so that it doesn't get too confused, and I'm going to save that. So let's have a look at what now might come up when we auto some of these things. Green is a bowling green, an envy of numbers should be comfy to walk on, strong enough. I don't think that's given us a huge change. What I might do is I might start from scratch just so we don't have any of that context. So I'm going to create a new page, test tone of voice. and just start from scratch, and let's see what we get. Well, let's just see what it comes up with auto writing. Craft Your Dream Garden with us seems a little bit vanilla, but interesting. I might need to change the tone words as well. Oh, here we go. Cheers to planning your visits to Garden Gurus, mate. We're stoked to have you. We're open every weekday, so swing by whenever you're free. Heart of Cambridge, so you can't miss us. Pop in and let's chat about transforming your outdoor space. Yeah, this space into a backyard butte. So as you can see, we didn't sort of get much of that content before, or some of those words. I think that we could probably, like if we adjusted the, oh, sorry, the tone of voice, those prompts are now gone. So those words are gone. You can add some of those words in. We can say, we are cheeky, funny, and love a pun, for instance. And again, we might just start to see that sort of filtering through as we create stuff. We might say, why work with garden gurus? Let's see if what it comes up with here. And then we'll move forward. Rack on us, your mates, when it comes to making your garden grouse. We're not just any garden gurus. We're the real deal. With us on your side, you'll have a backyard that's the envy of the neighborhood. We're not here to preach, just to help you create a space that's uniquely yours. So let's get cracking and make your garden dream. So I think you can kind of see that there is, a shift in what that tone's like. Yeah, so you can have a bit of fun with that. As I said, if we come in here and tried to prompt this, make this more professional and serious, it'll be interesting to see, because we're basically contradicting the tone of voice. But it's actually kind of worked. Please schedule a visit to our garden rooms. We're open all week. This sort of neighborhood. Pop into the office. Transformation of the backyard. So sometimes it'll work really well, but we have seen some where if you're trying to compete too much with that tone of voice, it will it'll just kind of provide a mixed result. That's all. So I think that that's where we've got to for most of the tone of voice. Please comment if there's anything you want me to just go over again. Otherwise, the last bit is just around the SEO. So if we go to the SEO helper from the Flint icon, what we should be able to see is, this page is probably not the best to do it from. So let's just go to one that I've just created for lawn care. Cool. So lawn care Cambridge, it's using that. So use keywords and phrases. So we want it to have our location because that's good for SEO, and we want it to be about what this page is about. So we're going to accept that and say that that's correct. And then we can see it's generating a title tag. So this is what displays on Google results. So when your page is presented to somebody, what is it going to say? So it's suggesting that it's Lawn Care Cambridge, and then a pipe, and then the name of the business. So you can adjust that if you'd like. You might like make it lawn care and maintenance and so on. But if we put in something else, it's going to say that it's actually missing that key phrase that we had at the beginning, which is really important that we've got that consistency through. So we're going to say, yeah, accept that. The description tag is about, again, what's shown on Google. So you've got that title, which we've just talked about, and then the description sits just below that. So this is really important, that it may not necessarily be the first bit of text on the page. So we need it to be something that's going to be engaging to somebody. And when they see you along with other services, that it's going to stand out and make somebody click on your page more than somebody else's. So this one says, Garden Guru, the lawn care professionals in Cambridge, New Zealand, have been providing top-notch lawn care services since 2010. That's very different, as you can see, to what's on this page. And so you can adjust this and change it. It's obviously up to a certain number of characters, because that's all Google will look at. But once you're happy with that, you can then save that as well, and then adding keywords to your page. So interestingly enough, we don't have all of those keywords. So we want to ensure that on the page we've got lawn care Cambridge, because that's specifically what we put. If we were to change this to lawn care,
A keyword phrase is
oh,
an
sorry. We can see it's missing a location. So it's automatically saying, actually, that's not best practice. So we'll add that back in. And then with our keywords, what it's now saying is there's 0 on the page. So let's have a look at the context that we've got here. And we can say, okay, well, let's add it in here. The thing is you might say, well, actually, I'm going to review this myself and say, well, I've got the word Cambridge here and I've got lawn care in my heading. Actually, I probably just want to adjust that maybe to have lawn care Cambridge, and once I've got that, now I've got one keyword phrase there, and you might want to just pepper that through the site. At the end of that, what you'll end up with is a score. And what's great about that is it just means that you've got something to present that you can see on your managed pages area, just to know how well your pages are set up for that. It'd be nice to get sort of green, and we can actually do that. We could just have a quick look at adjusting this. Not sure why this video keeps playing. But if we just add this into a couple more. And just update this one to have it at the end. Cool. So now that we've got all of those, we've got a full 100%, which is great. And then what we can see on our page here is that completed wheel. So I think that that's everything that we had for today. I'm just going to make sure that we've sort of recapped on what's there. What I would suggest, though, is that we'll send an email out in a couple of days with a link to the recording if you want to share it with anybody or watch it again, which you probably don't, sorry, you really don't want to listen to me again. But we'll also try and include some of the links to the content that we've created for Flint and for our AI generative writing. And there's also some pretty exciting things coming. So this has been built on as well. So yeah, keep an eye out for updates. Make sure you're subscribed to our newsletters and stuff as well. So just to recap, probably the main thing, if you've already got a site with us already built in, you're able to edit your tone of voice or create your tone of voice by hitting that lightning bolt in the top corner. And I would just suggest, I guess, having a go with prompting and that full page generation. It can be an easy way to build out your pages and get more content on your website. Just remember that the tone of voice is tone of voice. It's really about how your business talks, about how it speaks to people and what makes it, I guess, like what makes it special and what makes you different to those others, and how do you get that coming across. You can even talk about how you like your customers to feel. I think that that's always really interesting when you're prompting as well. For instance, even with some of the text that we're creating here, I might do a prompt that talks about feelings, which is kind of interesting. I want to explain why landscape design, is so important. I want visitors and customers to really feel like they have come to the right place. Come to the right place, and all their concerns on whatever it might be. And so, like, using prompts where you're actually talking about how you want this content to be taken by that person will also change how it comes out, and you'll actually see that it's more persuasive or it's more encouraging, which is just really important. So I would suggest definitely giving that a go. One of the things I'll share has a write-up from Jeremy, our head of product, or chief product officer, and that does talk about the different ways to prompt, and it's got a bunch of prompting suggestions, which are really helpful for generative AI. I see that there's no other questions or comments coming through. I'll wait around for a few more minutes, but other than that, that's our Flint AI product update.